For today, in the name of freedom, we take the battle to them.
In September, we will see the release of the first Transformers animated movie, at least, in recent years, and that is Transformers 1. Obviously, the movie that will showcase the, downfall of D16, aka Megatron, and showing the rise of Orion Pax when he becomes Optimus Prime. But really, the one thing that is more important than how each character became, their final form is the relationship between Orion Pax and D16. Undoubtedly going to be the heart of the film and is definitely what's going to be causing for the most heartbreak in this movie. I feel like that's definitely the direction they're going to go. Of course, the people who have seen the movie can't really say anything, but I assume that the first half is going to be very kind of, I don't like you saying this, but it's going to be really kiddie. I feel like it's going to be on the level of Kung Fu Panda 3. And then in the second half, hell, maybe just the final act, we'll get to, a dark, serious film like Kung Fu Panda 2. Yes, I'm comparing Transformers to Kung Fu Panda because they are two of my favorite franchises ever. So obviously, this is a movie, showing the origin story of two iconic characters who were, basically brothers and ended up becoming sworn enemies. But do you know what releases only 3 months later? Mufasa, the Lion King, where this is a movie that, it is a movie, wow, it's a movie that is going to show the relationship between Mufasa and Taka, who becomes Scar, and obviously kind of the downfall of Scar, and how they ended up, I wouldn't say becoming sworn enemies, but how they drifted away from each other. Because from what we've seen in this latest trailer of the movie, they really were brothers. And, obviously, unlike Transformers 1, this one is not sticking to the source material whatsoever. Because, while it never was, spelled out for us, obviously it is kind of unbelievable that Scar, a dark, actually, I should not say that, a lion with a black mane can come from the same family as Mufasa, who has that, red, bright mane. So it is kind of unbelievable, but everyone, I think, believes that Scar and Mufasa were biological brothers. Whereas in this movie, it seems like, unfortunately, they are going to do the complete opposite of, the story we know. And Scar was actually the rightful king of whatever tribe this is. And Mufasa gets taken in and it takes the throne. I don't like that they're not biological brothers, but obviously that is essentially exactly what Transformers 1 is. It's the same film, just with different characters. It's telling the story of these two, which audiences, have loved. These are some of the most iconic characters in movie history. Everyone knows Mufasa and Scar. Everyone knows Optimus Prime and Megatron. So these two movies have the potential to do really, really well. And, it's just quite entertaining how, 3 months apart from each other, these movies are essentially telling the exact same story. I do think that Transformers 1 is going to be a lot better in terms of, nearly everything. But I feel like in terms of which movie will be more heartbreaking, I don't actually know. I feel like there's only one thing that is giving Transformers 1 the edge in terms of which, I wouldn't say breakup. It's not a breakup. Which character's downfall, which will be sadder. And that is because Transformers 1 is animated and obviously they are robots, they can emote more. Look at their facial expressions. That is obviously something that the live action, in quotations, Lion King definitely suffered from, is that those animals were just devoid of any emotion. You know, when I went to go see the live action Lion King, I actually took tissues with me because I thought that I was going to cry watching Mufasa die again. But it was just devoid of all emotion. You know, it sounded like Simba was sad, but on his face, it was just that stone faced, like empty, expression. It was just terrible. This movie, it does seem like they have stepped it up in terms of the emotion, because you can see that, like Sky is smiling a lot more, Taka is smiling a lot more, Mufasa, his face moves a lot more. So I hope that there's even more facial expressions than the ones in the trailer. But yeah, I think that might be the one thing that'll give Transformers 1 the edge in terms of which one will be sadder. I mean, here there isn't really a bias with me, for either of them, because many people might find Mufasa the Lion King, much sadder, because people, might have known of the Lion King much longer than they've known of Transformers. But for me, it's more or less an equal amount, because obviously the Lion King it still is, tied with Coco, but I think I prefer the Lion King a little bit more. But The Lion King is probably my favorite animated film of all time. And I have just so much nostalgia and such a connection with that film. And yes, I know that this movie isn't exactly tying in with that original one, it's tying in with the live action, but it's still those same characters. So they really need to be careful of what they do with this movie. And, Transformers 1, of course, the story of Optimus Prime and Megatron, it's never been told in a full film. The only time it's been explained that I've seen is in Transformers Prime, of course, when Ratchet explains the whole thing about, being a Prime and all of this. So yeah, it's really exciting to see this as a whole movie. But I feel like this one, as far as the entire film goes, it will definitely start off as a kid's film and then devolve into this darker, more emotional story. With Mufasa the Lion King, I feel like they'll balance it out more. But I mean, hell, only time will tell. I know that the Transformers 1 releases, I think it's the 13th of September for most places in the world. Unfortunately for me, it's the 27th, which sucks, man. It really, really sucks. And then the same day as Sonic the Hedgehog 3, the 20th of December, will be Mufasa the Lion King. If I only get the opportunity to see one movie that day, it will definitely be Sonic 3, even though we don't have a trailer for it. But oh man, I'm excited for the rest of this year. We've got some good movies coming up. But yeah, please let me know, did you guys ever even think of this whole like a similarity between Transformers 1 and Mufasa the Lion King? I'm genuinely curious, because it doesn't feel like a lot of people have made that connection. In fact, on the trailer for Mufasa, there's actually someone who commented, and they were like, Megatron, we were brothers once. Mufasa, once. I was so happy, because obviously that's from, The Last Night. So, yeah. Please let me know your thoughts on the Mufasa the Lion King trailer, on Transformers 1 trailer, even though it's been a while and Chris Hemsworth only just released the trailer on his YouTube channel, which makes no sense, but it's fine. Yeah, if you did enjoy this video, please leave a like, subscribe, and goodbye.